Good evening and welcome to my home. I've chosen to do my presentation on United Thermostatic Controls case at the end of chapter 3. Here we have Cupertino in a bit of a situation. There are multiple divisions in this company. The Southern Division is the only one that's behind every quarter this year in 2018 for sales, but they found that there's a couple customers that had orders at the end of the year that they could push out and recognize that revenue a little bit sooner than they should have. So Campbell reaches out to one of the customers to kind of rectify the situation with the order being shipped prematurely, and tells Cupertino, and Cupertino finds this and as an effort by Campbell to rectify the situation and to justify that revenue being recognized, but still doesn't really feel comfortable with it. The internal auditors also found that these shipments would cause a material difference in the variance between actual sales and budgeted sales. And so that's why Cupertino finds this to be important. There's a few things at stake here. Campbell's bonus and other people's bonuses, possibly, the CEO, CFO, San Lorenzo, board of directors possibly has bonuses that could be hinged a little bit on just the Southern Division. Also, shareholders of common stock and board of directors and members of the company are going to be concerned with the stock value going forward. More importantly, though, I think as far as Cupertino is concerned, his role is at stake. So Cupertino is the director of internal auditing department, and as such, he seems to be uneasy about letting it go. That should be sufficient evidence that he needs to report it both to the CFO and to the audit committee. Now, his role, of course, is to bring these sorts of things to the attention of the CFO and the audit committee. And so if he comes across anything like this, it should be unquestionable. It should just go straight up if Cupertino's not comfortable with it. Also, if the Southern Division was struggling at the end of last year, the end of 2018, using cells and cannibalizing cells from the first quarter of 2019, is just going to kind of push it down the road. Chances are they're not going to do any better in the future. And so probably be better off, as far as they're concerned, just to kind of remain consistent instead of trying too hard, because chances are more light will be shed on it in the future and it'll still come back to bite them. So how much can Cupertino really do? And is anybody really going to listen to the internal audit team? Well, it is arguable that Cupertino's influence is limited. However, if he reports both to the CFO and the audit committee, he'll get the ball in their courts and they'll be able to discuss and determine what is the best solution for the company. Now, chances are that it's not going to be easy peasy, because this situation is kind of a little bit of a gray area, especially when you get down into the weeds, most likely. So there is a good chance that the audit committee and the CFO and Cupertino cannot all agree. If they all agree and they all agree with Cupertino, then great. But if they don't all agree, there could be some signs for Cupertino. If they are irritated with Cupertino and he suffers consequences because he reported this, then he might need to start looking for another job. If they just had reasons or something that it wasn't a big deal, then maybe Cupertino could decide that, well, it wasn't as big of a deal as he thought initially. And hopefully they would, just agree with him and have everything figured out. And this would minimize the risk of fraud happening in the future if Cupertino acts on this like he should. Thanks.